Hey guys, we're here today in Valheim, taking a look at 5 questions I personally see a lot from both new and returning players. The first question is one I typically see from people that are looking at buying the game, and they ask, is it fun to play solo? Iron Gate Studios on their website recommends playing multiplayer, so it is a fair question to wonder, is the game enjoyable when you're playing by yourself? Now, everything I have in this category is personal experience, but I would say yes, the game is enjoyable to play solo. Now, I think it's fair to assume that nearly every game is more enjoyable when you're playing with a group, and I typically play every game I play with about 4 to 6 people, but Valheim is one of those outliers that I happen to have played solo because everyone I normally play with just didn't have the timing right. Even though I wasn't able to sync up with my normal group and play the way I normally do, I put almost 400 hours into Valheim so far and still have a good time when I do get on it. I think the game does a really good job allowing you to spec your character into certain skill sets or jobs based upon the food that you use and the armor you use, while still allowing a single character to be somewhat of a jack of all trades by utilizing and managing their stamina and their movement speed correctly. Although it's no doubt that a lot of combat would be easier with multiple players being able to take up different roles, it is accomplishable solo, and in some ways the game can be even more fun solo than in a group when you like to get on by yourself and just kind of relax and do some peaceful farming or gathering. And I think the atmosphere of the game excels in these categories as being a much more slow paced and relaxing game that is good to play by yourself. Question number 2 is also a question I see from people who haven't yet bought the game but are trying to decide if they want to do so. And that is, why are the graphics so bad, or why do they at least appear bad? Now, Iron Gate Studios on their website has claimed that they went with this graphic style on purpose because they like that 2000s aesthetic and feel. Now, I don't know if this is entirely accurate or if they are going for a quicker system to be able to build up on and update, but either way, I don't really have a problem with how their graphics look. From the outside in, when you're just looking at the videos, the character graphics definitely look poor and are not up to standard with what we're used to these days. But there can be some bonuses to it, obviously, like smaller and faster updates and some decently quick load times. Now, if you can move past character models being poor and get in the game and actually immerse yourself into the world, you'll notice that the lighting and the textures and landscape of the world are absolutely incredible and quite stunning. It's mainly in the character models that the game actually looks poor and doesn't seem like it's that good, but if you do spend some time in the world, I think you'll notice that it gets quickly washed out once you notice how incredible the lighting is. The graphics do not seem to be something that Iron Gate Studios are planning to update at any point or change, since they have said that this is the style that they wanted to go for. So if the graphics are a problem for you, that likely won't shift, it won't change, and you probably won't enjoy the game. If it is something that you feel like you can move past, I believe that the gameplay will actually immerse you and make it a much more enjoyable experience, and you'll come to appreciate and enjoy the graphics themselves. Question number 3 that I see fairly often is for players that are trying to return to the game, which is it still poorly optimized? Now, you might be having this question if you played back in the early days and are trying to return after a long break, or even if you're looking at buying the game and you've only heard that it was poorly optimized. All in all, this question really depends on the computer you're running and the settings you're running at. I can tell you that they have done multiple updates trying to improve the optimization and how textures load in the game, and they have done improvements on the terrain in this area. That being said, my computer still heats up quite a bit when I play Valheim, even compared to other games like New World that look much, much better, which is a good indication that their optimization is not incredible. It has improved over time and through updates, but it is still something you'll want to keep an eye on, and make sure you're monitoring your computer's heat and how well it's running, and also tune the graphics and settings in your game to the best settings for your setup. It is something that Iron Gate is aware of and that they continually try to improve, and their main goal is to fix performance and bug issues. So I assume it will continually improve, and at some point they will have it run as smooth as we'd hope. The fourth question I see quite a bit from players in the game is, what do I do next? Now, obviously this question from players is not necessarily asking where exactly the next boss or location to go is, because there are plenty of guides out for that. I mostly see it from players who are trying not to spoil the game for themselves and not look up details and info, but they feel a little bit lost because the game doesn't really hold your hand or guide you in any way. So I will keep this little section spoiler free because this is not a guide on exactly where to go, but more of just give you a general idea that there is nothing guaranteed that you need to do next. When you get in the game and you follow the Raven's clues and move your way through the early parts of it, you will hit certain points where you feel a little lost and don't have an exact direction you need to be heading. Valheim is very much about the exploration. As you explore and just start moving out into that fog of war and discovering more things, objectives will naturally pop up. you will naturally come across things that will click, and you'll see that's what you should be heading towards next. There will also be a very clear power curve as you approach different places, and you will notice that you are either not ready for that place yet, and it is well beyond you, or you'll be able to tell that it is the next place you should be in. You just have to do it wisely. Regardless of the stage you're at in the game, or why you're asking this question, just keep in mind that the game is about the exploration part, and if you are not sure what your goal should be, start exploring, and that should open up pretty quickly. And the fifth question that I have that I see asked quite often is the game worth buying? What can I say about this topic? Clearly a lot of people bought the game and enjoyed it. Its positive reviews are about 95% on Steam, and according to the Steam database, the average player plays for about 40 hours. Now 40 hours is not as long as I would have assumed, given that I have nearly 400, but even at that average playtime, you're paying a pretty good price for the hours of entertainment. It really just depends on what you deem as worth it in a video game. The similar question to this, or the one attached to it that I've seen, is what really sets Valheim apart? And I've been honest about this question anytime I've been asked it. The game is not incredibly unique and doesn't exactly break any barriers. They do have a different spin on a lot of their survival systems, which I really appreciate and enjoy. But all in all, Valheim is rated so high and is loved by so many people because it was released in a very good state with minimal bugs or performance issues, and it delivered on what they said it would be. We did not get any bait and switches. We did not get a situation like we did with Outriders, where the in-game doesn't resemble at all the game before it. They stayed true to their vision. They put out a product that they said they would put out, and they put it out in a completed state, even though it's an early access title. If you enjoy survival, building, sandboxes, then you will enjoy Valheim, most likely. You should get well more than the 50 hours average playtime out of it, and it should be well worth your money. If a survival game, a sandbox game, or a building game is not up your alley, then this game should not exactly change your mind and shouldn't be something groundbreaking that you have to get in on. It likely won't be worth it to you because it is exactly what it's supposed to be, a survival game. It appeals to the fans of those games and does a good job putting some new spins on some classic systems, along with the fact that Iron Gate does a really good job doing testing on the new things they put in the game and implementing new things nearly bug-free. Hopefully this video helped you if you had any of these questions, get some quick answers to them, ideally without spoiling too much about the game if you are looking at buying it. If you do have any questions that I did not answer in this video, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them if I know the answer. Also feel free to join my Discord down in the description, and you can always send me a question in there anytime you'd like. I may not be the smartest Valheim player out there, but if I can answer a couple questions for you, I might prove I'm not the dumbest. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.